Hi and welcome to Steve Bakes, episode 4, Orange and Coriander Rye Sourdough. This sourdough is a German style bread and it's packed full of heaps of flavour. You can easily have it with marmalades, jams, because of the sweetness of the orange zest, or you can have it with savoury like cheese. And the coriander just gives it a really nice crunchy texture and flavour as well. It is like a really cool bread. In this bread, there's not going to be much kneading at all because we make it pre-ferment, then we mix in our other flours and put it into, we're going to be baking it in an actual loaf tin today. The time you need for this bread is roughly 12 hours. So we need to do the pre-ferment, which we're going to do shortly, and we need to leave that to ferment for 8 hours. After that 8 hours pre-ferment, we mix in our flours, our water, our orange zest and coriander seeds. Then we put it into the loaf tin and let it rise for another 1 to 2 hours, then bake it for about 30 minutes after that. So what you'll need for this orange and coriander rye sourdough is, so when we make the pre-ferment first, we need 100 grams of our rye sourdough starter. We will need 150 grams of rye flour and 200 mils of cold water. After we've made this pre-ferment and we've let it sit for 8 hours, that's when we add in our second lot of ingredients. In that lot, we have 200 grams of rye flour, we have 6 grams of coriander seeds, the zest of this orange, 6 grams of salt, and 150 mils of boiling water. But we'll cover that later in the video. So first of all, let's weigh out our pre-ferment. Zero that off. So we need 100 grams of the rye starter. So if you have been following my Instagram channel, you would have seen me make this rye starter in a whole lot of series of stories. So today is the first day I'm going to use it. So to that, we're going to add our 200 mils of water. And just break this up a little bit. Then to that, we're going to add our 150 grams of rye flour. There we go. So now we can mix it with a wooden spoon, mix it up. So this is the pre-ferment again, so we've got to let this sit for 8 hours. Ideally, you could either leave this set overnight or just set it in a warm place during the day and just let it ferment. Essentially, you're just bulking out the starter. All right, there we go. Mix a bit of that in. So that's the texture you want. And all we do is grab our cover, leave it for 8 hours, and we'll come back later. So our pre-ferment's been fermenting now for the last 8 hours or so, so let's have a look at it. So as you can see here, it definitely has increased in size. It's bubbled up and it's ready to go. To this, we're going to add our dry mixture now, which consists of 200 grams of rye flour, a zest of 1 orange. There's about 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds lightly crushed in here. We're going to use most of it in the bread and some for on top, and 6 grams of salt. So what we can do really is just mix it, put the salt in here, put the coriander seeds in, just a little bit, most of it, and the orange zest. Cool. Then we're going to mix this into the big pot. So now we're going to mix our dry mix into our wet mix and add some water. So let's just mix this around so it's all good. We pour this in here. Just give it a little bit of a mix around. So next we're going to add in 150 mils of just boiled water. So it becomes a bit more wet. So here's our 150 mils of just boiled water. This dough you don't need to knead like a normal dough because It just doesn't have that same sort of rise. See, it's come together quite nicely now. So next is what we're going to do is put into this loaf tin. So what we need to do first is grease it. So I'm going to use just a cooking spray. Put in there like that. And then, so once we've greased our tin, we're going to spatula this in. Just move it around so it's a bit more even. Our remaining coriander seeds and just sprinkle over the top. So once we put our coriander seeds on top, now we leave this to prove for a couple of hours in a warm place. So what you can do is just grab your compostable bag or your Glad wrap or shower cap or whatever you have, really just keep it covered. And we'll leave it to rise for the next couple of hours and we'll come back. So it's been a couple of hours since we've let our dough rise. So it's been a couple of hours since we've put it into our loaf tin and let it rise. So let's have a look at it. Oh, it's definitely come up easily. So it's got a nice level. So you don't want to go too much more because when we bake it in the oven, we're going to do a steam bake in there. So we need to put some hot water in an oven tray underneath and that should bring it up as well. So we're going to go in the oven for about 35 minutes at 230 degrees. And we're going to put a cup of water in a oven tray underneath to create some steam. Let's do that. So set timer for 35 minutes. We'll see you when it's done. So the bread's done now, so let's check it out. Ooh, dear. Look at that. Look at this. Looks great. Still a bit hot, but that's good. Now we check the bottom. We'll tap the bottom, see if we can hear it. Yeah, it sounds nice and hollow, so it's baked all the way through. Oh, it's got a nice colour and the aroma is really nice. So this bread, it has taken 12 hours. We started at 10:30 in the morning. It's now 10:30 at night, and we have baked it, and it looks. I can't wait to eat it, but it's too late, so I have it in the morning.